European Union imposed sanctions on the Wagner Group, a Russian mercenary organization accused of committing human rights abuses in the Central African Republic and elsewhere. The EU has said that it will no longer train Central African Republic government soldiers because of their links to Wagner. In Africa, the fighters are also involved in Libya, Sudan, Mozambique, and look likely to play a role in Mali. Why is Wagner Group in Central African Republic? The mercenaries are there to support President Faustin Archange Touadera in the fight against rebels who still control many parts of the country despite recent government advances. The country has been embroiled in civil unrest since President Franco Bozize was overthrown in 2013. Mr. Touadera, in power since 2016 election, has struggled to defeat rebel forces despite the presence of French troops and the UN forces. Central African Republic government believe the Russian mercenaries have had more success. Wagner is believed to have started working in Central African Republic in 2017 after United Nations Security Council approved the Russian training mission there and lifted the arms embargo imposed in 2013. In October 2017, President Touadera traveled to Russia to sign a number of security agreements with the Russian government. This includes a request for military support in exchange for access to Central African Republic's significant deposits of diamond, gold, and uranium. The UN has only agreed to the deployment of 175 Russian trainers for the local military. Russian President Vladimir Putin welcomed President Faustin Archange Touadera in an African summit in Russia in 2019. Despite official Russian denial, there are accusations, including from EU, that there are links between Wagner and the Kremlin. Analysts say that these ties enable armed Wagner operatives to start working in Central African Republic after the deal with Russia was signed. Since then, the group's presence in the mineral-rich country has mushroomed. The Russian government says it has sent unarmed military instructors to Central African Republic and that more than 550 of them have been in the country at any one time. UN experts, however, believe there could be more than 2,000 instructors deployed by Russia to CAR, including recruits from Syria and Libya, where Wagner have been active. This is of particular concern to the UN and France, who have been both accused the group of inflaming the conflict by carrying out human rights abuses and extrajudicial killing of suspected rebels. What exactly is the Wagner Group accused of doing? Wagner operatives as well as government forces have raped and robbed unarmed civilians in the country's rural area, United Nations and France say. In a report in August about human rights abuse in the Central African Republic, the UN documented more than 500 incidents in the year from July 2020. Among those were extrajudicial killings, torture, and sexual violence. Last month, a monument of the Russian military was erected in Central African Republic's capital, Bangui. In October, a panel of UN experts said that those arrested by the Russian instructor and the national army often had no access to justice. They say that victims were reluctant to lodge official complaints, meaning that impunity of the abuses continued. Earlier in that month, CAR's Justice Minister Arnaud Albanese acknowledged for the first time that some abuses have been carried out by Russian instructors. While he said most of the incidents were carried out by the rebels, it was the first time that the government has recognized abuses carried out by their own troops or their allies. Abazene also said that Russian instructors have been repatriated to tried in the home country. Why has the EU decided to take action? EU spokesman Nabila Nasralli told BBC that Brussels was increasingly alarmed by the activities of the Wagner Group, as well as issues in Central African Republic, and UN has accused Wagner of carrying out war crimes in Libya. A BBC investigation revealed Wagner operatives had killed civilians and prisoners in Libya and planted unmarked explosives. Their legal status is vague. Their modus operandi, objectives, and targets, Mr. Nasralli said. It is clearly difficult to prevent and ensure accountability for potential violations of human rights and international humanitarian law in context of such ambiguity. The EU was keen to stress that it has not cooperated with Wagner Mercenaries. It has now suspended its military training mission in CAR, as it was concerned that those mercenaries were commanding units that the EU has trained. The EU is one of the largest donors of humanitarian assistance to CAR, having provided more than 1.4 billion euros, that is $1.6 billion since 2014. What are the Wagner Group's ties to the Russian government? Officially, there are none, but there are suspicions of close ties. One of those sanctioned by the EU was Valery Zakharov, a former member of the Russian State Security Service and a security advisor to President Taldera. According to EU, Mr. Zakharov is a key figure in Wagner Group's command structure and keeps close link with the Russian authorities. Wagner gained prominence in 2014 when it was fighting with pro-Russian separatists in the conflict in the eastern Ukraine. Since then, the group has become active in the Middle East as well as in Central and Southern Africa. It is believed to be funded by Yevgeny Prigozhin, a rich businessman with links to President Vladimir Putin. Mr. Prigozhin has always denied any connection with Wagner. Russian government also denies any state's involvement with the group, while also maintaining it does not really exist because private military contractors are illegal in Russia. Where else in Africa is Wagner operating? As well as Libya, the EU also mentioned Wagner Mercenaries operative in Sudan and Mozambique. In Sudan, they are thought to have been involved in training as well as protection of officials and mining sites. The Mozambique Wagner has supported the army in its fight against the Islamic militant insurgents in the north. Most recently, Mali, a long-term Western ally in the fight against jihadism in the Sahel, announced it wanted to employ about 1,000 Wagner operatives to help provide security. This followed the French announcement that it would withdraw about half of its 5,000 troops from the country. The US said it was alarmed by the prospect of the deployment of Wagner Group forces in Mali. It said that the mercenary presence would destabilize the region. Mali's foreign minister Abdoulaye Diop said that the intervention by the international community had not worked and the country had to consider new options. Wagner's potential entry into Mali reminds many observers of the way the group started operating in Central African Republic. This report doesn't see anything bad in it. For Wagner to be in Central African Republic, just like Blackwater American forces in so many other countries fighting wars, I don't see any reason. That is, the only questionable character is the humanitarian crisis, of which some of the Wagner mercenaries are being persecuted back in Russia. So it doesn't mean that because there are some humanitarian crises, in a war situation things happen. It doesn't mean because there are humanitarian crises, Wagner shouldn't exist. The EU are just more or less angry or biased because of Russia. The Wagner Group are expanding extensively, which is not bad anyway.